people of Earth. I am Ruffles, and I am here on Zanzax Valente's YouTube channel. Guys, keep it together. I'm here to announce that today is Self-Care Sunday. God, right now we're really gonna. Oh, that's the agenda for Self-Care Sunday. Now, over to Zach for the programming.
Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting edition of Self-Care Sunday live here on YouTube. Oh man, that's a lot. If you have never met Ruffles before, it's one of my favorite creations. Right out of college, a friend and I made several very stupid videos that never went very far on YouTube, but they still bring me a lot of joy. And they actually ended up, I think, helping me get a job at my first real job out of college. So, before we get too lost into tangents and story time and all this, it's been a while, and I just want to say welcome back to everybody. And it's so lovely to be back. I know it's been a while since I've been here, and I think there's like a non-zero amount of guilt that comes with like not having announced that I was going on a break and when I'm coming back, and I needed a break. I think I've put more pressure on myself and made my life more complicated than it has had to be this entire time. I don't know. I didn't realize when I signed up for therapy over a year ago that I would discover how neurotic an adult I'd become. And yeah, I don't know. I think in seeing it, it set me free of it a little bit. And I'm writing more than I have before, which feels nice. And maybe I'll have something to say about all of that sometime. I'm not rushing into publishing a memoir anytime soon. And I think that when I got started on this YouTube situation, I had it in my head that my job was to just like be an open book all the time. And then it creeped into how I used Instagram, and then every moment became something that I felt like if I wasn't sharing, I was going to fall behind in some way. So, yeah, I don't know. I think this has been an incredibly high growth period of my life the last several years. I am really happy to be back here for Self-Care Sunday, and I'm not committed to necessarily doing this every single month the way that I've been doing it. I think that sometimes it'll be Self-Care Sunday, other months I might do a different thing. I think I'd feel good about planning one live stream a month, and then whatever it is, it kind of ends up being. I think I felt a little bit like I was making myself crazy trying to create the perfect show for my spirit and my just like wanting to create something every week and feel good about like being a creator and making something that I'm proud of, and then wanting to make something that like, I don't know, feels like what y'all who have been here would keep wanting to come back to, and then balancing that with like what's monetizable and what's sustainable. And I think one of the things that I will share now that I feel like I've learned on this hiatus from sharing so much publicly on the internet has been well, let me put it this way. got a new toy. I have been wanting to get into music since I was a little kid. I think I was 5 when I asked for a guitar. My parents got me one, and it was warped, and then we were going to get it fixed, and it never did. And my mom's had a lot of guilt over it, and I hadn't had any of those feelings, like resentment or anger or anything. I just like wanted to do music, and had a lot of fun connecting with my friends in college who did that. Some of my best friends were musicians, spending time with one of those close friends recently reminded me just how real life is happening in real time. And I think I've been caught up in projecting out into the future how I could do something impossible. Because there's no world to save, because all of us are in so many different movies about what the world really is, that there's no possible way I could make the kind of difference that I fantasized about making growing up in the culture that I was raised in. The funny thing about self-care, and it's just, I have to come back to that because Self-Care Sunday, is I turn the whole thing into a chore. Frankly. And it's funny because it's like, for me, live streaming, sharing with you guys like what has been on my mind, and just being available to hear what you guys are up to, and cultivate whatever community has formed here. And it's, just the power of that has not been something that, and the joy of that sort of just seeing love sprout, even if it seems so remote at times, has made me feel like, I don't know, it's been a source of self-esteem, I think, in my darker times. I think one of the things that I hope is clear to everybody, that I don't think is in our culture, and I don't know if when I say our culture, you feel included in that, because maybe we're part of different cultures, I'm not sure. A lot of you I haven't met. I don't know, I think one of the feelings that I've been wanting to express is how overwhelmingly sort of paranoid and anxious I think I've felt over the years, worrying about not being prepared enough for life. And now there's a sort of bitterness and dark humor around how little some of the institutions that I moved through really just, missed the boat on teaching any of us personal finance. We obviously have the skills, and I think I was incredibly privileged to go to the programs that I went to learn the things that I learned. But yeah, it's just, it's an interesting predicament. I've been saying, as somebody who grew up writing, I can't tell if I'm a writer, if I'm just the words bouncing around in my head. And just as a poet, I feel like like the only thing I can say to explain what it's like to be here is having stumbled into this mammalian craft and been raised up speaking this language, and having a whole bunch of definitions and no definite sense of, I think there's people who are learning to meditate that, like me, were quietly beating the crap out of themselves inside the whole time, And then occasionally getting a little bit high on whatever it is we do when we meditate. And then there are other people who I think are, doing something that's changing the structure of their brain, and we've done all these measurements, and there's like a there in terms of neuroscience, I guess. But I know a lot of people who I've talked to in running Project Uplift, which I have some fun exciting updates about. If you're not familiar with Project Uplift, I will get into it in a minute. And then I want to look at the chat because I feel like I've just been fucking talking for a while. Yeah, I've taken a step back in recommending meditation to people. And frankly, that applies to like all recommendations, just because I wait for somebody to ask now before I recommend anything. I just feel like tired of having to sell stuff, frankly. I don't know. That's what I love about this YouTube situation is I have all the means I need to make the show I want to make. And I'm probably going to slow down to make less, more interesting to me projects, than doing like lots of high frequency stuff. And I feel incredibly grateful to shout out Gabrielle Urbina and Sarah Shackett for sweating through No Bad Ideas all this time. If you're not familiar, we have a silly show we're doing where we tell stories, or rather, we pitch each other really terrible situations from the internet and history and life, and then the other two have to make stories out of it. And I've learned a lot about my weaknesses in dialogue. Like, I don't know, I just feel like I'm really critical of myself when I edit, and I can see like where they are doing smart things and moving a story forward, and where I'm just on a tangent sometimes, or and yeah, it's just, even if you, I don't know, I think some people project like it might be, my voice sounds as weird to me as it does to you, in the sense of people, I think their voice doesn't sound good. And I think you understand what I'm saying. Sarah P., you can't be late on Self-Care Sunday. You just can't. It's not how it works. Fuck me. Yeah, so this is the thing. Steph, I wish I meditated more. I was talking about meditation and how I've sort of taken a new view on meditation. And that is that it is not so different from medication, in the sense that I took medication for many years for my ADD and my ADHD. I took Ritalin, Vyvanse, Dexedrine, several different things as I got panic reactions on one, or I bopped around to different prescriptions, and that's not abnormal from what I've heard over the course of one's life in relationship to these drugs for this problem of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or whatever they're calling it these days, because it keeps changing. The definitions keep changing, and I think that there's something to them. I think it's dangerous to tell a 9-year-old person that they have an attention disorder. I think one can start to form ideas about oneself around words like that, that if there is anything to them, the words, I don't think it would make it any better to frame it in that way as a weakness. But I don't know. I'm not a doctor. And yeah, so basically my understanding is that most meditation practices that are based in training attention, so mindfulness of breathing, visualization, sort of mantra-based meditation, repeating a word, all of these things fundamentally, I don't know if they're designed to, but by the virtue of experimentation, people have figured out how to induce states in their brain, and experience bliss and joy and quietness of the mind. and it's like some of the effects and side effects sound like medication. And I think it's probably a safer solution for pain management than opioids to be able to use something like John Kabat-Zinn's mindfulness-based stress reduction technique. There's a lot of literature about it, and I've done it, and I've gotten benefits from it. I think it's an incredible EpiPen. Like, you know, if you have an allergic reaction in a sort of, what's the word? You understand. Basically, if you have a acute incident, it's nice to have something for immediate relief. And I think that mindfulness-based stress reduction, that sort of meditation practice, is phenomenal. I think the best healthcare also is preventative. So I think there's something to the maintenance of a practice. I don't keep up a regular meditation practice, and I don't think it makes me worse. And I used to think that it did. And that's the thing that I'm interested in, that anybody listening that is stuck in feeling bad about themselves for not meditating, that we have some freedom there. Because I think that I did more harm to myself than I got benefit from the meditation I was doing in recriminating myself for not practicing more aligned with some ideal, if that makes any sense. I guess what I'm saying is, on Self-Care Sunday, let's not beat ourselves up for not doing self-care better. Okay. I'm going to go to the chat now. Let's see, everybody. Oh, thank you. Angel Acevedo. I'm going to fuck up all the names again. I'm sorry. I appreciate being a lovely dork. That is... Here we are. Oh, man, Ashley Nunes, welcome. Great to have you, first timer. 1 second, let's get this focus going. Sorry if I've just been out of focus the whole time. By the way, this toy shit, I've just been wandering around New York City with this little synthesizer, drum kit, and 4-track tape recorder. It feels really good to be making music, and really embarrassing to not be as good at it as I wish I was. And it's nice to have something that I'm not doing for any reason other than to do it. And it's nice to do it on a device that gets me off of this computer and out of this basement. Benjamin Theodore, so great to see you here. Neom M, welcome. Max Hoffing, welcome. Mitzrayim, welcome. Caspian C, so great. I'm sorry, Max, that it's been a real bad way lately. You know, oh, wait. Oh, it's quiet. Uh-oh. I'm glad that somebody said so. 1 second, folks. Let's see. Nope. How's that? That's probably a little better. And then, probably bring that up a little bit. Hello! Alicia Workman, welcome. Tree Kid. Mitzrayim, yeah, it sounds like video game music. It does sound like video game music. Evie, I do that all the time. Think about what I've said to people and sort of replay it in the mind's eye, and you maybe see yourself in not the most flattering light. I don't know if meditation would help get those thoughts out of your head. I think that kind of neurotic thinking, for me, has felt like the mechanism of self-improvement. Like, because I have thoughts that way, people who might have called me rude at the time later would say I improved. And I don't, and then there's also like probably a category of stranger that I may still be blindly rude to that I just don't see yet. But I think it's just feedback. It's like that noise in our head that has something to say about what we do and how it could be for another person. And I think that there's an argument, and I'm not arguing, I'm just thinking out loud that there might be some aspect of empathy in simulating the emotions of another person such that you might notice that the way you said something may have ticked them off or gotten in, pressed a button in some way. So I don't know. Good quality music scared you on a live stream. I prepared it before, but I was thinking maybe we'd make a beat now. Alicia, I don't know if there is a Zach without any, I just like, I don't know what's left when I'm done beating myself up. Except my memory of that past. Man, that's so fun. I really am excited to do more music, and I'm aware of my addiction to validation, and I don't know what to do about it. I'm glad that the volume is better also. Max Hoffing, thank you for saying I'm stuck in this loop of people telling me you're only 18 and you need to get your shit together. Oh man, that's a lifetime. Look, I'm just saying, if my mom in her 60s is still saying that she's a work in progress and that lady's awesome, I don't know. Maybe we're just a work in progress forever. Surprise. So, I don't know. Like, you'll have to look into your own circumstances and see if there's shit in your life that isn't together by your own definition. And, and just see for yourself if there's something that you'd like to bring more integrity to, not morality, just like, oh, I'm going to say I'm going to do that thing just because I say so. And then, like, you have to actually do it whenever you set a deadline for it, not because it's for anybody else or, maybe it is, I don't know. But at the end of the day, there's like this dimension of like, telling the truth. Like, I think for me, I've had people yelling at me to focus my whole life. And I just constantly been coming back with, but there's so many things to focus on. Once I get down to like the obsession that I have with being a creative person and making lots and lots of stuff people love, and just like what that whole movement is about. And then also the need for basic things like food, shelter, roof over my, and like that takes money in our society. And so there's just like work that has to get done at a certain level. And I, for one, have definitely sort of fucked up my shit thinking a lot about the inequality in our world, and how I might spend my time contributing to making that a little better. And I've had an interesting experience working in the field of technology where I've just seen, as our smartphones have grown up around us, and I don't know, some of us are born with these things in the world and can't imagine a world without, which is wild to me. But yeah, it just seems like it's moving really quickly here, and I for one, don't think it's possible for anybody to have their shit together in some cosmic sense. And so getting more specific, I think like I have a better quality of life, more predictable at some level, pending cataclysm. If I like manage my cash flow, which my dad taught me to do, I guess in I can't remember. He kept reteaching me because I kept not focusing and not, learning and implementing it. And it's something that's become really important in my 20s, going into my 30s, that like it's important to keep organized, to do what I do freelance. You just keep your eyes on the dials of a plane. And I had a saxophone teacher who learned to fly, and he showed me this video game that you could get that actually you'd book flight hours by playing it. There's a lot of indicators, and at a certain level, you do a lot of the flying by just like checking the indicator lights, make sure you're not running out of whatever, the pressures, whatever, and so there's like that. I've had to tell myself, Zach, it's time to fucking get your shit together. And that's just something that like is the difference between, being told it never goes well, because I just want everybody to think I'm okay. And I don't think that I'm not okay. I also have definitely touched sadness. And I definitely feel miserable from time to time. And I don't think that's unnatural, given what's going on here and how long it's been going on for, and how much we've tried, and where we're at in this state of war, and in our fight for peace in any sense. Just like there's this self-perpetuating mechanism of conflict that I just don't totally understand, and I'm not an economist, and I'm not a philosopher really, and I just I don't know what to say about a lot of things at the end of the day. But I think you get to hold your own counsel about what you need to get your shit together on, I think is the point of why I'm ranting right now. So I'm going to shut up and keep going back through these things. I hope any of this is interesting or useful, or, and frankly, that's something that is, part of a pattern in my life, needing. I think I've demanded that my life be meaningful in a way that became unhealthy ultimately, because there's no outside validator for a meaningful life, and so it's made it interesting as I think more and more about it, and I see my parents getting older, and it's something that I am interested in being a resource on this platform as long as it will host me. I love that, Rena. Try to be someone who makes you happy with others who make you happy. Of course. I don't think it's unnatural to want attention and seek validation. How that gets tangled up in self-care. I think that's going to be one for the memoir, if that ever happens. In the meantime, I'm really enjoying learning about things that I enjoy learning about. And it's hard to talk about that because I could get caught up in lecturing and blathering on about historical characters that really, I think both of them would be furious if I just bored you all with the details. But it's very exciting to like look out and see something like so I went to Wesleyan, and so I've been like living in this shadow of Hamilton and just loving it, and like, and I aspire to produce something of that kind of caliber and quality, and I have not yet, until recently, told the truth about the kind of work that goes into a project like that, and the kind of focus that goes into a project like that. And while I've been busy trying to answer the question and prepare better incrementally to focus better, to live my life in a way where people might stop telling me to focus better, I lost focus on just living in this direct sort of connection with any kind of joy, the way I think we do as children. where we just kind of dance and sing until we're tired, and you know, we'd only say the words, "Yeah, I had fun," if we were asked, because we actually didn't care about whether we were having fun. We were just doing it without any question. And so I feel incredibly privileged to get to indulge in that kind of a way of life. And I think that it's possible that we could have a world where everybody does. That every human here could live in a kind of, I don't know about paradise, but when I'm sitting out on the beach, you know, I was just at my family reunion, it just struck me how we really were in this kind of a paradise out in Montauk, Long Island, and you know, I don't know. I think there's a lot of pressure I put on myself to project into the future, and especially being a nerd of sci-fi. I guess I found myself making it my job to try and make everything here work. And I just need to start with my own shtick, my own corner. It's like my dad has said for years, think global, act local. And I think I've been too busy thinking global because, frankly, I think that I have one of those brains that only thinks and overthinking, if that makes any sense. And so I don't have any answers. And I think I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to be one of those channels here, because those seem to be what are profitable, that just has 24/7 answers, like these self-development coach life hacky things. And I couldn't keep it up. Like, I don't think I ever made that. Like, Focused AF didn't become that podcast because I don't have that podcast in me. And I can see the paint by numbers strategy that seems to work for a lot of people, but I just, I don't know. I think I made myself crazy trying to make what I did for a living, what I did to make myself feel good about myself, and what I did to make a difference for others. I tried to make those one thing. And that drove me a little nuts. Mitzrayim, at this point, I think I'd title my memoir Focused AF, and I think if I get to writing that, it'll be based on blathering like this live and getting it transcribed, because I don't think I have an interest in sitting down to try to write the story of my life. So it's sort of whatever comes out by accident, I think, just feels like a better process for me. Alicia, it means the world that Wolf touched you in any way and impacted you in the same way as Hamilton. That's ridiculous to hear. And frankly, we heard that when Memoria came out. And when I say we heard it, I mean I heard it in many ways, because what came through Gabrielle in that episode taught me something about myself. And I can't begin to do justice here to what, no spoilers, the ending of Doug's story, sort of the echoes of meaning that I just continue to discover in the wake of that is humbling. And it was really a joy to be a part of that thing. And I think that one thing that I had mixed up that feels clearer now, and I don't think it's good or bad news. It's, it's like the sky is blue. It just sort of is whatever, because we just, I don't know what else to say. I can't have pleasure without my pain. Like the joy and the beauty that was, you know, producing a show like Wolf 359 came with a tremendous amount of stress and anxiety and all of this. And I can see the same at work in all of my intimate relationships that have been, I mean, to call them meaningful, I feel like sells them short, because it's like, I am the interactions that I have had with everybody in my life, the sum total of those, and yeah, it's just a beautiful, absurd situation we find ourselves in all of these mammalian crafts. Hell yeah. So I think maybe we'll wind down with a little beat over here. What do you say? So I'm going to start by just clearing the track. Jeez. I know how to use this. I'm still learning. How are y'all Sundays? Oh my gosh, Rena, I'm reading this. In the age of social media influencers, they get paid to pretend to have a perfect life. No one's life is actually like that. Everyone's a mess. It's fine. Exactly. And then it's like, the thing that kills me is like, then I go out there and do this, and then, you know, what do I do when they come knocking, and do I take that money? And then suddenly it's like, you know, I can understand what it's like to struggle to make a living in this economy, and it's like, I can only afford to say that all day because of privilege, and then it's just, you know, I don't know. I just think too much about how to live. And I watch my cat Tiffany, and she has no questions at all about how to live. She just does it directly every day. And so it's been nice to spend a little more time with her. Her health has definitely been in a decline. I won't call it a nosedive, because that would be morbid. I'm joking, I am morbid, and it has been. And also she's like remarkably well for an 18-year-old cat. So here we are. Oh, awesome. Tree Kid has D&D in 2 hours. That's pretty cool. Let's see. I got this cat for you. All right, everybody. We're taking this show to Tiffy Town. Why haven't we been here the whole time, Valenti? I know. I'm getting better. Yeah, that's the perfect focus. Can you tell I got better lenses? A friend sold them to me, and I am so grateful because they are so good. Okie dokie. I'm coming back. I know it doesn't sound like I'm far away from the camera because the microphone stays on me. But now we can, oh shit. That's funny. I need the headphones to actually hear what's happening because of this, how this workflow is set up. Live streaming is such a fun challenge, everybody. It's also can be really stressful. It's nice to do your own streams because you know, you don't have to warn people about what can go wrong when you're the client of your own self. And, yeah. This is live. Do, 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 do. Oh, yeah. I don't know if this is visually the most stimulating thing in the world, but I know she is the sweetest. Princess Tiff. There we go. I hope this is fun for you guys. I'm having a ball. Ooh, I'm gonna get the chat open. I forgot I have a cell phone attached to my camera now, so I can do that sort of a thing. Let's see. Where is this? There we go. Don't have volume though. Don't have volume. Great. Okay, everybody, now I can see your things. Oh no. Let's see. What would you like? I don't know, Louis Zong. Also, Tiffy's out of focus. Oh, that's so funny. I was trying to use the laggy video as a viewfinder because it looked so sharp and crisp. I thought I was right there. There you are. Yes, yes, Neom, tell me about your podcast. What kind of show are you doing? Trisha Cleveland, I'm curious what your perspective on the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People are. I've never read the book myself, but I know a bunch of people. This is Stephen Covey. Max, that sounds like an amazing fucking thing to do with your mom in this time. Damn. Fun idea. What's your budget? How much are you comfortable spending? How awesome do you want the sound to be? What are some of your favorite podcasts that if they sounded like that, that would be the dream, is I guess the next question that I have for you. What are some of the habits that you've tried and what have they made available to you, Trisha? Cool. That's great. You should definitely steal your brother's mic. I would ask him first, but that's just me. That sounds awesome. If you can use what you already have. Frankly, I think if the storytelling and the content is awesome, the sound quality is totally secondary to that. That's just my opinion. But you could check out pod.how, the blog post that I put up about podcasting advice, where I have a couple of different pieces of equipment that I recommend. I think that for the balancing cost to sound quality to ease of use, there's a lot of value in an H6 from Zoom with whatever multiple of SM7B, or not SM7B, no. Those are very expensive and hard to power from a preamp, or not power, but anyway, I'm thinking the SM58 from Shure. And then I really like Electro Voice 635As. I think that's what they are. I always mix up those numbers. It might be a different one, but they're like these little metal mics that I was introduced to by the man who recorded Wolf 359. He called them hammers because they're just that hefty, and yeah, you can really mess them up, and they keep working. So those are nice. So those are a couple of mics that I would recommend if you're just trying to get people talking. If you have money to spend, you might get a little bit of a better sound out of the Electro Voice RE50 with the neodymium magnet. Definitely gets less hand-handling sounds, like this sort of a thing. Anyway, you get the idea. Super Megacast. I haven't heard that. That sounds cool. Let's see. Rena, remind me, are you going to the Podtails thing? I am going to the Podtails thing. I cannot confirm if Gabrielle and Sarah will make it yet. We will see. I will be there. The second one is goal setting and making mission statements. Also, Def going to go back later and listen to Mike Rick stuff. I have no idea what an SF666 condenser microphone is, except for the connotations in my brain to both San Francisco and Satan. I am not planning currently to attend DragonCon this year. Thank you for asking. I will see you at the conference. Steph? Yeah, Podtails and MA. So the cool thing about this is you can really fuck up the sounds and make new sounds. I hate it. Let's change it. Cool. Well, everybody, I'm still looking at the wrong image. The phone's there. I'm sorry, Ashley Nunez, that you don't get to go to the PodCons. I hope to see you there someday. Maybe they'll offer a live stream pass to any of them. I know it's not the same. But it's something. And, yeah. I don't know. I'm going to hang out with this cat some more. Got a little bit of work to handle because always got a gig in the gig economy. Gotta have a gig. Oh, you're so pretty. You're so pretty, Tiffany. Okay, everybody. Eventually, I will have a hand free to end the stream. In the meantime, I'm going to continue to pet the cat and look at the chat. YouTube wants me to read more and learn more about how to protect the live stream chat. Protect the chat. Pretty Tiffy, pretty kitty, so pretty. Oh yes, princess. You're so beautiful. So yeah, I guess remember this week that it's totally normal to feel a little a mess. It's not unnatural to feel a total mess. And take a break from the news once in a while. That includes Twitter. It's good for your brain to take a break from the information. This cat is so perfect. This cat is just right. This cat is so perfect. I'll pet her all night. Her breathing's been a bit of a wreck. But she definitely still loves pets, and she still eats her wet food. And she still uses the restroom, so I'm not ready to call in the reinforcements. All right, everybody. I'm going to go turn this thing off. But from Tiffy and me sending one second. Honestly, if my first year of teaching hadn't been awful, I wouldn't have... Wait. What? I wouldn't have gotten to switch careers to a job that I love a lot. Oh, that's so great. Messes do lead to successes. That's, yeah. I think that life is learning is failure until it's not. And I think that I've had an unhealthy relationship with the word failure. Because, yeah, I don't know. It's not so bad to take a risk. And, yeah. We don't have forever here, so if there's something you want to do, go give it a shot. Isn't that right, Tiffy? You want to go hiking? No, she doesn't. I want to take her hiking, but she hates leashes, so we don't go hiking. Oh, you're so sweet. Okay, I'm actually doing this. We're actually ending this thing. Right? No. Oh, man. I'm sitting in a weird way. Okay. Oh, okay. Ouch. Sitting on a bunch of meditation cushions and moving blankets. Alrighty. Say goodbye, Ruffles. Alrighty. Goodbye, everybody. Until next time, happy Self Care Sunday.